Hey guys, and welcome back to this tutorial. Today we're gonna do audio. Means we're gonna add some sound, we're gonna add atmosphere, and we're gonna add sound effects to this to the scene. We're gonna look at some new features that are in Unity 5 and some new very cool effects that we can use to give our scene a little bit more of a life to it. What I've done in the meanwhile is not that much, to be honest. I changed some lighting. I baked the entire scene and added all these lights in here. The blue fill lights that we did last time, I just pushed it through the entire scene, so everything is now nice and lit. So I didn't do that much. What I did do was make an actual boulder. In Maya, I just made a simple sphere and I changed it a little bit with the mesh deform sculpting tools in Maya. It should be there. There it is. So I just made a boulder and slapped a texture on it, and that's pretty much it. There it goes. So I've downloaded some sounds that we're gonna use. So one of them is the ambient sound, ambient sound, I should say. This one. It's just the general atmosphere. This one as well. Bit of a windy atmosphere. I added a beat because it sounded actually really cool. So I did redo. It sounded cool, so I figured, why not, right? Boulder roll, or sounds, or like a boulder rolling down. Creature breathing, just sound very creepy, so hence that. Death sounds. A fire, of course, just a fire burning. Gate closing. Opening as well, of course. A grunt when a player is hit. A pickup that we're going to change inside Unity itself. And water. Just simple water. Okay, so what I tend to do first though is do the actual sound effects before adding, for example, the music or the general ambient sound, because you don't want to have these sounds getting convoluted by the other sounds, so you want to hear them clearly. So that's what I'm going to do first. So for example, I'm going to add the water first. So I'm just going to click on my water and I'm going to drag my water sound onto it, and that's it. Now the actual object is playing sound. I'll show you what happens. So you just hit play, and there it is. But the sound isn't 3D at the moment, it's 2D, so when I'm standing all the way up here, you still have the same volume, which is not that nice. So we're gonna turn it into a 3D sound by clicking or just dragging this one over here, the spatial blend, all the way up to the right, which now means that it's a 3D light, 3D sound, I should say. And a couple of things that you can change. Well, first I'm going to show you what it actually does. So this is the, and the further away you get from the actual object, the lower the volume will be. That's exactly what we want. A couple of things that you can tweak. For example, one of them is the minimum distance, this one over here, which means that inside this sphere the volume will always be 100%, and outside that it starts lowering down in volume. So I'm gonna make this like a nice number, like 8 for example, so it covers most of the actual well, pond. I wouldn't say a pond, but, and then when you step back it should lower the volume. Actually does that. Of course you can also just click on these points over here and actually drag the gizmo. The other one is the maximum distance. If you zoom all the way out, you can see a giant sphere. In theory, if Unity doesn't crash, you see a giant sphere. So that's where the sound starts dying off. It's really big right now, so I kind of want to make it a lot smaller though. Again, if Unity doesn't crash, so I'm gonna make it 50 at first. So this is the actual graph of the sound volume, and you can actually see our player, the listener, right here. So when we're standing here, the actual volume will be around 40%, and the further away we get from the actual object, the lower it will be. This is 100%. Then it starts fading away. But I kind of want it to be 0 volume when I get to here, otherwise it's just a bit weird. So you can actually change it. You can actually change this one over here. You can actually grab this one up, for example, and just lower it down to 0. Or maybe even this one a little bit lower, and this one down to 0, and then zoom out a little bit if you can by increasing the max distance. Let's do 500 again quickly. So we can actually zoom out and turn it all the way dead. So that would be this one, for example. So let's go 50 again. So this is the listener or player. Let's try it again one more time. So this is a nice volume, and then we go all the way to the back. And as you can hear, the sound is pretty much dead, which is exactly what we want. I might tweak it a little bit though, like a little bit to the right, this one, so it dies off a little bit easier. So a little bit more to the right, or you can just increase this number as well to 100, for example. Make one a little bit more curved. There you go. That's too much though. Let's do 75. There you go. Let's try it again one more time. Sounds good. And further we get away, we can now hear it very vaguely, which is perfect, which is exactly what we want. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna hit save, obviously. So next one would be the fire. So I'm gonna go to one of my lights over here, and first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add an empty game object to it. So I'm gonna just click, for example, on game object and lower it down to something like here. Then again I'm gonna drag my fire, just gonna drag it on there. And same here, first thing I want to do is turn it into a 3D sound. So I'm gonna hit spatial blend all the way up to 1, and I'm gonna turn on loop. I might as well do the same one for the water as well though. Let's turn on the loop so it actually continues. So the first thing I want to do is just check to see how it actually behaves. So this one looks a little bit weird. So our listener is already over there, but I want it to be when it's under the lamp, the light fixture, you can still hear the sound. This actually works really well. Let's maximize some place so we can actually change some stuff if needed. So I'm gonna go there. You can see the actual player, the listener, closing in on the object, and when we get to here, this sounds pretty good actually. So I might just leave like this. Easy. So I'm gonna call this, for example, a sound player, or just fire sounds. A little bit easier. And I might actually do this one a little bit lower even. On 40, so it has a little bit more volume to it when we get closer. And you can see the player come closer and closer and closer, so we get to this point here. That's perfect. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna drag it under my hanging light 1. So I'm gonna open the prefab. I'm just gonna drag it in there, like so, and then I'm gonna hit apply change to prefab. So when I do this, every prefab will have that sound playing. You can see here now it has fire sounds. So let's see what they all have. So when I play, let's see what happens. You can hear the sound, the fire. Same here. Beautiful. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the other light that you saw over there. This one. Right, this one. I'm gonna do the same thing. So again, I'm just gonna add a empty game object to this one, the fire complex. I'm gonna empty game object so it spawns right over there, roughly around there, and then again I'm gonna hit the fire there. I'm gonna turn on loop. I'm gonna turn to a 3D sound one more time, so and then I'm gonna use 50. You can actually see the gizmo around here. It's a little bit big though, but you have to make sure that, because it has this fall off right over here, that you don't make it too small, because then you won't be able to hear it. The minimum distance looks pretty okay. It's just this part over here. So let's see what it looks like, what it sounds like. I should say this time. So let's hit play. You can hear it. Now it should be a double fire. That looks pretty damn. That sounds pretty damn good actually. Okay. So let's do fire sound. Water fixture. That sounds like a good name. And again, put it under the fire complex, so it's not part of this one. So it's a little bit easier. to get everything in there. Okay. Pretty simple so far, nothing really fancy to be honest, nothing really difficult. We just added some simple sound effects to it. So now comes the difficult one, the gates closing and opening. Because we are pretty much forced to actually time the animation with the sound effects. Gate close, for example, this takes quite a while. Around 4 seconds it actually stops spawning. No, let's first, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the boulder first, the actual boulder. I'm gonna grab it in my geometry list, just gonna boulder right there. And I'm gonna drag my boulder roll on it. I'm gonna turn off play on away because I don't want the sound to start playing the second I start the game. And then I'm gonna up the spatial blend I should say, and then maybe maximum distance, let's do this one a little bit bigger. Let's do 100. Minimum distance a little bit bigger because the boulder is big, of course, so let's do it even more. Let's do 4 even. Okay, so to get this to work we actually need to add a script to it. Well, not this one, but to the key that we pick up. So when I go to my key, for example, my key script, this one, this is because this is the part where we activate the boulder. This part over here, we activate it there, so we actually also have to do something else to it. So we also have to turn on the sound, or play the sound in this case. So down here I'm gonna say my boulder, oh let's wait for it, my boulder dot get component this time, again one more time, get component, this time audio source, and then I say dot play, just like that, and that's it. And then when the object is activated, you will hear the sound play. So let's check it. Let's pick up the key and let's wait. You can actually hear it coming. That's cool. That's cool. So you could hear that the volumes are a little bit different. But the cool thing is, in Unity 5 they added an actual audio mixer to it. This one over here, this tab, you can find it on the window, and then audio mixer right there, or Control 8. With this one you can actually change the sound levels, and you can also add effects to it, which is even cooler. So I might just do that right now. When you click on, for example, an audio source, you can actually also change, for example, the output here, which requires a mixer group. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new mixer. I'm just going to click on plus, I'm just going to call it one master. And there you go. And then you get the snapshots, groups and views. And down here you got the master one. You can also change the volume up here if you want to, or up there here if you want to as well. And even the global pitch. But I'm not gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is add a new group. So I'm gonna click on my master right there, and then I'm gonna hit plus, so it goes under the new group, and I'm gonna call this one, for example, let's call this one water. I'm gonna make one more. I call this one the fires. So all the fire, and then I'm gonna do one more, and I'm gonna call this one boulder. So just make sure that everything's under the master one, because you can also do this, for example. Then it goes under the water group, and I kinda don't want that, so let's rename this one, remove it. There you go. Okay, and then you go, for example, to your water. You can check the output, then click on one, then you can click, for example, on the water. I'm gonna do the same thing for the fire. I'm gonna hit this one, just one of them, doesn't matter which one. Output, and I'm gonna hit fire, and then I'm gonna hit apply changes to prefab, so all of them get actually changed. So now they're all on fire. And in my boulder, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna choose the boulder one. So now when I hit play, for example, and I turn on edit in play mode, I can actually lower the water volume, or up the boulder one. It sounds a lot more dramatic. So water a little bit louder. Let's do it all. As you can hear, it's a bit too much, so I'm gonna lower it down to, say, for example, 5, and this one I'm gonna hit water. I'm gonna do something like -10. Let's see what happens again. Let's hit play. You can hear it coming. That works really well. Cool thing is as well, you can actually add effects to it. So you got send, receive, dock volume, low pass, etc. Well, you guys can read. So what I kind of want to do though is use the parameter equalizer. I'm going to add a little bit more bass. So I'm going to just drag it up here, and then I'm going to move it all the way to the left. So you got a nice long bass and octave range a little bit higher. So you can see that curve gets a little bit wider. So we just add more bass to it. Let's do this again. Yeah, that makes a difference. You can actually hear it. It's not perfect, as you can see, because it keeps on playing even though the ball is standing still, but that's something we will do later on. But for now, this works really well. Okay. Right now we're in a cave, even though it doesn't sound like a cave, because there is no echo / reverb in the cave. So that's something I want to do. You can actually do it very easily. You can just add an audio and then a audio reverb zone. This place right here, let's move it up. And with this one you can actually create a reverb area, or an area that has a lot of reverb. It also has presets. For example, I want to use a cave for this one. Then I'm going to make everything bigger. So the maximum distance here and the minimum distance as well, because then otherwise this part here just has the most reverb. I'm going to make it a little bigger, something like this. I don't want to get all the way to the edges, because the edges, well, there's a bit more or less reverb there, so I'm going to try and play it. You can already hear it. Let's check the boulder now. So the boulder right now doesn't have any reverb because it's not in the actual zone, but the second it will enter the zone, it will actually get that reverb as well. Now when we get out of the zone, you can hear the sounds actually changing, so I'm going to turn it off and one more time. So we got a lot of reverb and then it's gone. Then the reverb just stops. So I might want to change a little bit though. I want to make it a little bit bigger, so it actually catches this part here as well, and the maximum distance so a little bit bigger, so it makes a little bit more sense. So I'm gonna move out again. Nice reverb, and then we get to this part here. We get less reverb. I might just treat it a little bit more, even a little bit wider. There you go. Let's try that one more time. Much better. So in the presets you got a bunch of options there, like generic, etc, but also one that's called the stone corridor, which is perfect for our level. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an empty game object. I'm gonna call them all reverb zones, so I can have my scene nice and organized right there. So I'm gonna add one more. So audio reverb zone, and then I can place it where I want it to be. In this case, something like this, a little bit higher. Then I'm gonna set it to a stone corridor. What you kind of want to have though is that the reverb zones are overlapping. This one and this one, they are overlapping. So you don't get these weird parts where there is no reverb all of a sudden, because that will be weird. Let's check it. Here, this part here has no reverb. This part has, then also nothing, and then we get it again. That's a little bit weird, so I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger and bigger. Let's check. See, now we've got this nice crossover of the parts, and then we can get out of it again. So I'm just gonna copy this one several times, so duplicate, Ctrl D or Command D if you're on a Mac, and just paste it somewhere like here. Again, make sure that they are overlapping. This one is, and it's just constant checking, see if they actually work properly, and if the crossover or the cross section is actually nice and smooth, so a little bit higher probably. Should be fine. A little bit, one more. Let's wrong way. This one should be here-ish. Okay, so everything inside this zone will now have reverb, also the fires. If you don't want that, you can of course turn it off. For example, we can grab this one here, the actual audio fire sounds here. You can actually turn off bypass effects or bypass reverb zone, so they're not affected by it. But in this case, we kind of want to have everything to have reverb. Really cool though. That sounds really cool. Okay. Let's keep chord pacing them. One more here. Maybe a little bit wider. Then one more. One there. Make sure that's still inside the actual and roughly in the center of it. Then one more here. And then we're gonna do a different one again. We're gonna make it a lot bigger. So I'm just grab it. Make sure that it fits all the way, and again turn it into a cave, and let's see what happens. That sounds really cool. Jolly good. Okay, so that was pretty easy, to be honest. Let's be honest. So I'm gonna move my player. I'm gonna move him up, one floor up, so it's a little bit easier to work with. So I don't have to go all the way up every time. I'm a bit lazy, so let's see if it actually does just that. It does just that. Okay, closed. Perfect. A little bit dark there, so I might want to add a light there, but for now I'll just keep it like that. Okay, so in this case we need to do a little bit different, because the gate closing right there. We need to time this a little bit better. So first thing I want to do is I want to add a game object or a game sound to the gate door falling. So I'm gonna get my gate. I'm gonna go to my project again and sounds and the gate closing. And I want to put it on there, so I'm going to grab my door, I'm going to go to my window and then animation right there, so I can time it a little bit better. I have not found a way yet to actually add audio to this one. That would be really nice, but I haven't found it yet. Maybe someday in the future. So let's just get close, put it under there, and then we can actually start working around with it. So first I'm going to turn on again 3D, so it's 3D, and now I'm going to turn off play on awake again, same as last time, and then we need to test it. That's pretty much the only thing we can do. So I'm gonna go to our player, and there should be a trigger around here somewhere, so I'm gonna go here, triggers, gate close trigger, that one. And again, we need to edit our script so it actually starts playing the sound. So I'm just close gate, this one here, and we're gonna do the same thing here, but this time we need to do a little bit different. So I'm gonna call this audio source. Gate audio, for example, is gate object undefined, same as usual. Gate underscore door. This isn't very efficient, but then again, I'm not a programmer, so I'm excused, to be honest. And then we can do gate audio dot play. So when the trigger is activated, the sound will start playing. Let's see what happens. Let's play it. It's already closed down. Okay, it's a little bit too fast, as you can imagine. So I'm gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna add a giant light there, point light right there. I'm gonna make it very bright so I can see what the hell is going on. So intensity and range all the way up, so I can see what the fuck is going on. So trigger it. Yeah, yes, you can see it needs to be a lot slower. So we're gonna do just that. Gate door. And again, window animation. Animation, that one. Okay. So we need to slow it down by a lot. So let's see what happens here. So this is the, and then it goes down. So it's around 4 seconds, the sound effect. So I'm gonna grab this part all the way up here. So all these keyframes I'm gonna move to the right, like 4 seconds each. Then you can see it actually starts doing some weird stuff, because that's because the curves. You can see it actually here. There you go. So we need to do this a little bit different, as you can imagine. So let's do it like this. Then you get this nice effect of it slowing down. Okay. Let's test one more time. Should be around ish. A little bit faster. Let's make it a little bit faster. So zoom out. And let's move them to something like full. Should get that there. Ish. In the meantime, I'm going to change the curve all the way up, so it actually slows down. The gate slowly closes. Something like that. Okay. And test. Oh, that's actually really small. That's by accident though. My bad. Let's see what happens. Alright, triggered. That's actually really close. Okay, so let's do the first part though, with chains. So the descent is a bit too fast, so I'm gonna go again into animation, usual. And I'm gonna grab this one over here. Maybe these two, and just a little bit later. Something like that. Save again. Even slower. Let's do this one as well. So all these three of them. Yeah, three. Something like there probably. Even slower. So this one I'm gonna move it a little bit to the side. Even more, and then this one even more. There you go. Almost. Solid. Easy peasy. And same here, let's change the maximum distance to something like 100, maybe? Still massive though. Let's do 80, something like that. You can barely hear the difference though, so let's do something like 50. So the listener is actually outside of the range right now. Let's do 40. And see what happens. I just might want to up the volume though by a lot, but see, this is the minimum distance, so I want to increase that by a lot. Something like, let's do 3. Yeah, let's do 3, and then the maximum distance a little bit lower. Let's do something like 75. Then I'm gonna change the curve. This one goes a little bit lower and then down. This one as well. Let's check it. I might do it even more the minimum distance. Let's do this one a little bit to the right even. Slightly. Sweet. And again, for the gate we can also add a different audio group, but I think I'm going to put it in the same one as the boulder, because it just adds bass. It's actually what I want, so I'm going to put it to the boulder one. That works really well. Sweet. So far so good, not that difficult. We can also change like the reverb so much, we can add even more to them, so it comes all the way around. What you can also do, of course, is just add one to the master. You can add a reverb to the entire master, this special effects one. So, but then you have to change the settings manually. Or just copy the one from, for example. So let's copy this one. That's also a method, but a little bit more difficult. So with this one, reverb songs, you have a bit more control over what's happening with the actual scene, which is perfect. But as you can see, you need to add a lot of them in this case, which might be a little bit boring, but it works a little bit better. So I'm going to add one though, right here. I'm going to grab my player, and then I'm going to go audio reverb zone, this way, and up, 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 up. Let's do the minimum distance by a lot, so this one the bigger, this one as well, so it actually covers the entire room here, like that. And again, I'm going to put it to, let's do stone room, see what happens. Is any good? Oh. You can see. Need to fix that. Cool effect though. Not what we want. Sounds cool though. Sounds cool. Actually, don't hear that much difference between, like, for example, the cave. Probably has a little bit different settings, but we need to fix that, of course. We could just add a boolean here, for example, that puts it to true. So we could say, for example, here bool gate closed is false, and then he could say here, for example, nope, if exclamation mark gate closed, so if it's false, play it, and then in here we're gonna set it to gate closed to true. So now it just plays once. A little bit of a cheat, but this actually turns light off, so this is perfect. Okay, not that difficult. You can also do the same thing for the actual opening the door. This time we added this one though to the actual door, but since we have two sounds, you can't add two audio sources to an object, because then Unity will just start crying. So you can only add one. Makes sense, right? So what you can do as well, so I'm gonna remove this one, audio source, remove it, and here I'm gonna add a game object, just empty game object, and gate close sound, and I'm gonna put it right up there. Play on wake turned off, loop turned off. That's added to the boulder. This one was 75, I think, and this one was like from like 5. Then this one should be lower. Okay, but we also need to change script, because right now it still looks for the gate door and the audio source on the gate door, but there is none on the gate door itself. So if we play it now, we get a massive error. But this one will be it. So I'm gonna in the script I'm gonna go gate close sounds underscore gate close sound with capitals. Then it will actually find that object, hopefully, if my scripting skills don't suck. They do. Oh, I pressed it one more time. That works, but we have got to put on the 3D sound. Not really that helpful. And here it goes. I only play it once. Awesome. And let's add this to the actual gate door, so we don't get confused. So let's put it all the way up. There you go. Gate door. So actually it's attached now to the audio source. Gate door, sorry. And then you can do the same thing for the gate open. You can actually add a gate open sound and do the same way. It's the same method. Okay. Pretty sweet. So now I want to add the ambient sounds to it. So I just drag them in the actual scene. So first thing I'm gonna do is create a, this should be right there. Well, we're gonna delete that one anyway. So I'm gonna create an empty object and I'm gonna call this sounds. I'm gonna drag my ambience right in there. Oh, look, there you go. This time I don't want it to be a 3D sound, I want it to be a 2D sound. So the volume never changes. And I start playing. You get a nice sound effect to it. It already sounds pretty damn creepy. I'm gonna make a new group and I'm gonna call it ambient. Right there, so I can actually lower down the volume if need to. I'm gonna add a second though. I think I want this one as well in there. This sound, this one here. It sounds a bit windy, so I like it. So I'm gonna do this differently. I'm gonna remove this object. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna call this ambient 1. Ambient 1. I'm gonna put it in the sounds, and I'm gonna do this one here. I'm gonna create a new object. Here, object new, empty, and I'm gonna call it ambient 2. Ambient 2 and drag it on there. So if you may have noticed this one here, it says high priority and low priority. What you kind of want to do is your music or the ambient sound to be have a higher priority than the sound effects, which means that if the PC has some issues with the sounds, this one will still play first, so the ambient sound don't disappear all of a sudden. So 1 is the highest, 0 is the highest. And then just in order to fight 255, this one, this is the lowest priority. So I'm gonna do this one for like 10, or you could do this like 0 as well. That's fine. This one as well, 10. So they always start first. I'm just gonna hit play and see what happens. What sounds like. So we now have 2 sound effects, but the volume is way too high, as you can hear. So I'm gonna put this one in the ambient one, this one as well. So I can actually lower the volume of the entire channel. So audio mixer actually works. For some reason I can't access it. There you go. So ambient, I'm gonna lower it down. Something like -10. See what it sounds like. Go even lower maybe. No. That. Of course you can also add some effects to it, for example the high pass, low pass, pitch shifter, that might be really creepy. Let's try it. I don't know what it does. That's cool. Okay, let's not do that. Remove this effect. Okay. So next one would be the pickup sound. The player picks up the actual key here. This one. My first thought was to be just to add it to the actual object, but as you may remember, we actually destroyed the object one here. So for example, if we say here my key dot play the sound effect, and 1 frame later it will actually be destroyed, so the sound actually never starts. So it's a little bit useless. So in this case we need to do it a little bit differently. So I'm gonna add a game object there again. As usual, I'm gonna call this one first key audio, or just key audio in general. It's fine as well. So we can actually copy paste it. Key audio. This one right there. I'm gonna put my pickup on there. It's a bit of a weird sound that I made, but with the purpose that we can actually pitch it later on. For example, if you put it all the way high, the pitch to all the way to 3, you actually get a very cool sound. As you hear. One more time. I kinda like that. So I'm gonna move my player one more time to the actual pickup. So there-ish. Oh, not that far down. don't want my player to die. There you go. There you go. So we now can play on awake still on, so we should definitely turn that off. First thing I'm going to do there is I'm going to turn off play on awake, and I'm going to put this one in my sounds. So we now also have to use a script for this one as well, as usual. But this one is actually really simple. So I'm going to lower this player a little bit. Okay. So we've got a game object called key audio. So in my script where I pick up the key, I need to find my key audio object. So in here I'm going to say game object. Next thing to do, let's do audio source, and let's do key audio. Yes, game object. Dot find key audio, I think. Right. Dot get component audio source, and then here we can say key audio dot play. So now when we pick it up, we get an actual sound of picking it, and then we can hear the boulder coming in the distance. Sweet. Okay, the volume is ridiculously loud, so I'm definitely going to change that one, like something very lower, like probably 0.4. Try that one. Let's do 0.2. And let's turn this into a 3D sound, because, well, not really needed, but we can. No, let's not do that. It's a waste of resources. Sounds a lot better. We can also pen the stereo pen to left or right even more, and reverb zone. Let's do this one all the way to the left to 0, so it doesn't get affected by the reverb zone. Easy. So I'm gonna probably leave like that. Bounces. First bouncing boulder, everybody. Magic. So let's do this song over here. Let's put the player again. All the way there. And in here I want to do something different. I want the player to pick up the key and then hear a scary sound. That sound I got here, the breathing. But then I wanted to pass through the player, so you get this really cool 3D effect. First I'm gonna play this part here. Goes down here. There's a crack in the wall, and I want there to be sound as well. That would be cool. You can actually add something like a wind sound here to this one. I don't think I have one. I thought I had one, but I don't. Well, that's lame. Oh, let's not do that then. So let's do the sound where the breathing passes through the player. So I'm going to create a game object as usual. Oh, I should really know how to click. And again, I'm gonna this one here. I'm gonna move it here. So it's I want it to start here and then go through something like this. Assuming the position of the player. Well, you don't really know it though, so it might be a little bit different. So I might just do it like something that it goes something like this in an 8 form. So you always get the sound, no matter what the direction is of the player. So I'm gonna start here, and then I'm gonna add the creature breath to it. There you go. I'm gonna set the 3D all the way up, and then I'm gonna put it into sounds. Okay, then I can animate it. So I'm gonna go to window animation. Property, it will ask for a new one. I'm gonna put it somewhere else in animations. Let's do the breath, creature breath animation. Creature. I should really learn how to type. Breath. Anim. I'm just gonna do the transform, nothing more. So position. Let's do here. Let's see where it ends up. let's have start on the same position, so 10 there, let's do 20 there, ish. Probably a little bit faster, so let's just check it. That's a really cool effect though. That sounds really cool, but it's way too fast, so I'm gonna slow it down. So I'm gonna move this one to 2. I'm gonna scale everything up, so this to 140, 120. There you go. Let's play this again. That works really well. Maybe if pitch this one as well, like something like 2. See what it sounds like then. Let's loop it. I should really turn on loop. I'm stupid, sorry. That's a very cool effect though, but we don't want to have to do it like once, so I'm gonna slow it down by 1.5. Let's check it again. And I'm gonna turn off play on awake, so it doesn't. So when this key's picked up, I wanted to actually start doing that sound thingy. So I'm gonna go to my key script 2 probably. See my trigger. So key 2 trigger, this one here. Key 2 script. I should call this one creature breath or breathing. And in here I'm gonna find my objects. So again, as usual. But now to do a couple of things. First thing I'm gonna do is just declare it as a game object. It's an empty game object, and I'm gonna call it creature. Yeah, I'm just gonna find it. I'm just gonna find the object itself and don't get any components just yet. So this is creature breathing. That's it. So then I can actually use this one to declare multiple types. So in this case, first thing I will do is actually play the animation. So if you still remember, we did it with the close script, for example, as well. You can actually get the animated component and then do the k close. Or in this case, it's a different one. If I'm not mistaken, it will just play by itself by default. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently. First, I'm going to also create an animation, the second one. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call it idle. So creature idle. Oh, assets animation. So creature idle. So and that will be our default state where it doesn't do anything. So animator. And then I'm going to set this one as a default state. So it will always go to this one instead of that one. It's a lot easier, a lot less painful. So first thing I'm going to do is just get the animated component. Oh, not there, in the wrong script. And that one. Okay. So then I can say animator. Creature anim is creature dot get component animator, and then creature anim dot, well, let's see what I did the first time. I think it's dot play, and then we need to define the state name, which is creature breath anim. So this starts playing when I actually get there. Let's see if it actually works. So I'm gonna trigger it. Now I'm gonna see, there it goes. Perfect. Then I'm gonna get the sound. So in this case I'll do source creature sound is creature dot get component audio source. Then I can start playing it again. Creature sound dot play. and that's it. So now when I get the key, or when I'm about to get the key, the sounds start playing. Don't like it though. I think I'm gonna set it to 1, or maybe even lower. That would be cool, like 0.5. See what that sounds like. Sweet, but the maximum distance is way off, so I'm gonna do something like 10 maybe. See if it actually does anything. Let's pick it up. The distance is not that great anymore, so you can still hear it even a little bit better. So the minimum distance of 2. Let's play. You just hear a lot better, and then it fades away. Let's make sure it's not looped. No, it's not looped. So again, we can add this to an actual audio mixer. We could do it, for example, to the ambient one and actually change it. So, but since we will add a, let's do it straight away. Actually, since we're gonna add a reverb zone, I'm not sure if I want to. I'm gonna set it to stone corridor, a little bit wider, maybe something like 15 and 20. Let's see what it sounds like. See, it sounds pretty good already. We don't have to do that much anymore. I think I'm gonna pitch it back to 1 though. Otherwise it's gonna take forever. So let's put it in the reverb zones. I kinda like this one, so let's keep it like that. Okay, let's play it again. Let's pick it up. Okay, and this should also have the part where it actually starts playing. So key audio, we can actually use this one again. We can actually drag it in our asset folder and turn it into a prefab if you want to. So we can grab it right here, then we can place it right on top of the key itself. So this one should be here. A little bit easier. Let's place it there, and then in the script we also need to start playing this sound as well. So we need to find key audio. Let's call it key 2 audio. So in here we also need to find the game object called key 2 audio and start playing the actual sounds. We're going to do the same thing here, almost the same thing. Let's do audio source, key 2 sound is game object or find key 2 audio. Oh, not like that. And then we say get component, audio source dot play straight after it. There you go. Then we get a nasty error. Line 19 probably doesn't like that. I do it like this. Let's do that then. This should still work. Yep. And then we're gonna say key 2 sound dot play. It should work. Yep. Works. So far so good. What's left? What is left? So we got the grunt, this one, and def, and the beat. What I kind of want to do here is add a little bit more of, well, dynamics to the actual game. So what I kind of want to have is that if the boulder comes here, this sound start playing, this one. Then you get this very cool beat pumping scene where the player has to get the hell out of there, otherwise he'll die. Maybe even like here. So what we can do, of course, we can add a 3D object. I'm gonna add a sphere here. I'm gonna place it right up there. Let's do something like here and make it really big, bigger, so the boulder can't miss it. And let's call this one the boulder trigger. And let's turn this one off and turn this trigger on. So let's put it under the triggers. So then when the boulder hits this trigger, and just the boulder and the player itself, I want it to start playing this sound. So I'm gonna add it to my sounds. I'm gonna create a new object, game object. I actually don't have to. I will. Let's do this beat. I'm gonna drag it on there. That's it. I'm gonna drag it on the and drag it in these sounds. So I'm gonna turn off play on wake. I'm gonna turn on loop though, so it keeps on looping forever. So when the boulder hits this boulder trigger, I want to actually do something. So I'm gonna create a new script, C#. I'm gonna do the boulder beat. It sounds like an awesome song, so let's do that. The boulder beat. Okay. So I'm gonna delete this one because I'm just gonna use the void on trigger, like we used here, for example. So I'm gonna say void on trigger enter. Then I'm gonna do a little bit differently. So I'm gonna add a collider. Then you can use like col, for example. Just any name will do. Then you can actually check to see if the collider dot name, for example, is equal to our boulder, which has the name boulder. So then it's just the boulder that's hitting it. So we can say if the collider object name is boulder, so if boulder hits the trigger, we can do something. So for example, then we can find the object called beat. Then we can say audio source called my beat is game object dot find as usual beat, and then we're gonna get the component called audio source, and then I'm gonna say my beat dot play, and then I'm gonna put it on my boulder trigger. So the script will be put on my boulder trigger. Drag it, click it, drag it, done. See if it actually works. So I'm gonna should move my player first. I don't want to get bored to death, so I'm gonna move it all the way down there and down. And hit play. Wait for it. This gets you pumping. So we can actually let's do a new group in here. Let's call this one music, and I'm going to add the music or the beat to the audio music group called music. So we can actually do some stuff to it. For example, we can add normalize or pitch shift to chorus again, or let's try chorus, see what that sounds like. Down part is though we have to wait every single time for it to actually come here. Sorry. Let's wait for it. No, I don't like that though. That's just lame. Do we have an echo? Yeah, we have an echo, but I don't. I actually might want to do it to creature briefing. I might want to add a echo there. I might just do it later on. So let's go to our music again and maybe flange. No, that's lame. Distortion. Let's not do it. Distortion. Normalize. We have to do this one as well. Compressor. No. let's do a soft reverb on it. Not too much. Just gonna step to the left so I don't get killed by it. Keep in mind though that this one is still affected by the reverb, so I'm going to turn this one off. Since it's placed here, it will actually be affected by the reverb zone that's placed here. So turn this one off by turning on the reverb zone. Turn it off actually, and then I'll just do it one more time. Let's wait for the boulder to come around. Let's not do that. That's how cool over. Maybe add some bass. You can actually do this by script as well. Let's do I might just leave it like this, to be honest. It's my channel to use for this well. I'll just leave it like that for the moment. One cool trick, by the way, if don't know if you actually notice this, if you can actually go here to shader, you can actually turn off the, like for example, the UV charts and systems, the color, albedo, emissiveness, irradiance, but also bake, so you can actually see what your baked, what your light map looks like. And also the M occlusion, you can actually check the M occlusion, see if you actually like it or not. Awesome. So for the next time, we're going to finish it by adding the hit sounds, for example this one, and the grunt sounds. But that also requires a graphical user interface. So that's up next. We're going to do that one next. So you can actually see how to add an interface to it, and how to finish the entire game probably. So I hope I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed it. So see you guys next time.